Freaky Friday is intended for adults and is a show featuring adult conversations. Topics may vary, but are focused on human sexuality, fetish, and topics of intimate nature. Some may feel uncomfortable watching this show, and some topics may take you out of your comfort zone. We encourage everyone to stay and learn, as we hope this is an educational show, but stress that viewer discretion is advised. And if a topic makes you feel uncomfortable, please do not continue watching. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Welcome to Freaky Friday, where we dare to talk about taboo topics like fetish, bondage, sex, vibrators, and more. This isn't your dad's Friday night programming, but your mom loves it. Welcome to Freaky Friday, hosted by Mr. Anderson, who is the unboxable, uncanny advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. Also the giver of free hugs and spends. Everyone watching this program will get virtual free hugs and spends. It's time to get on with the show. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Music provided by the YouTube Audio Library. Produced by Silent Partner. Song name, Tied Up. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. The show's so controversial, you need two warnings. Welcome to Freaky Friday! As you guys heard, I am your hostess with the mostest, the very proud freak flag flying and waving Mr. Anderson. And we're going to get right into stuff and get you entertained about what's going on in the fetish world and informed. Some of it's entertainment, some of it's going to inform you. So first off, let's start with the information. We have a Twitter feed. That's right. This show is brought to us by Comics Unleashed, part of Continuum Comics. And not only is Barbara Unleashed going to be there, but we also are looking for adult content. We want adult content that has a meaning. We just don't want necessarily comic book porn. We want meaningful stories that push the envelopes. This means it can be a sexual story. It can be an LGBTQ-friendly story. It can be a story that is sexual. As long as the sex isn't the primary component, we're open to listening to it. We have this whole Twitter feed, which we're going to be using from now on. You can find all the stories listed tonight, actually, on that Twitter feed. And you can find all the information about this show at comicsunleashed.com. And we even got an overlay for you to check this out. So here we go. We're on Twitter. There you go. You see our Twitter feed right there. You can go to comicsunleashed.com, and that's where you're going to find all the information about this show and what we have going on. For now, it's housed in our Continuum Comics website, but soon it will be a website of its own as it launches with Barbara Unleashed as its flagship IP. All right, so we're going to get on to our stories from the news real quick, and then I got some other things to talk to you guys about. We're first off brought to us from Women's Health magazine. They talk about breath play is a dangerous sexual activity, but there are safer alternatives. And I do want to stress this. Breath play can be very dangerous. A lot of people don't even understand how to grip a throat, let alone how to not hurt a person while doing it. And there is a power dynamic with it, and some women do find this actually very attractive and are sexually aroused and turned on by it. Men too. I don't mean that to put that just on women, but there are inherent dangers with them. So this was an interesting article to talk to you about some alternatives that aren't possibly as dangerous. And again, this is from Women's Health Mag, so you know that the idea of fetish, bondage, and kink is becoming a little more acceptable as we start to see articles with this. So I'm so happy to say that. And in an Elite Daily, here are 30 BDSM themed texts that will give your partner a kinky thrill. So I thought some of these were cute. I don't need the list, but I thought the list was worth mentioning. And this was just some weird stuff, and I wanted to bring this up. Barbies in bondage. So this guy was trying to make a political statement, and they just kind of labeled it as Barbies in bondage. And that's not really what it was. But it's, again, it's this using of the word that they know is going to be kind of clickbait. And it makes people who have a bondage fetish, which I am one of those people, look bad. And it's always upsetting when they do this in the news. And it just shows that and how discriminated we are against. And I mean, I get dirty messages, and I don't mean dirty in the good way. Let's put it this way. I get ugly, harassing messages, even about this show. I've grown used to it, but it still sucks. The fetish community still feels as though we have to hide because of closed-minded, short-sighted people. Things like this make it worse. So, what are you willing to wear on your next Zoom? Fetish fashion is coming back in style. That's right. We talked about the music industry bringing it into mainstream, and now you're going to be seeing it a lot more in regular mainstream clothing lines. I thought that was interesting. This is brought to us by LATimes.com. Again, this shows you how the fetish absorption, the people who have fetishes, I'm telling you right now, even if you're just watching this program because you're curious, and that's okay, there are people in your life that have a fetish, and you just don't know about it because they don't feel comfortable revealing that to you. Really let that sink in. If you have a fetish, you know exactly what I've been talking about right now. It's time to see more women pleasure in porn if we are ever going to bridge the gender orgasm gap. Now, the interesting thing in here with BDSM porn is that there are forced orgasms. A lot of times, the whole goal of a lot of BDSM, not all, it has shifted in the last few years. There are still rape fantasy. There's still some violent kidnapping ones that I don't necessarily like, but there are a lot more sex positive where women are forced to orgasm, and it's a cat and mouse game. I think people are starting to get wise that you don't have to abuse a woman on camera for it to be enjoyable. And I think that comes with women directors. There are a lot more women pornography directors, and I learned this when I went to FetishCon. I got to meet some of those women directors, so I thought that was pretty awesome. And we don't use the bed anymore. I thought this was really cool here. And this is brought to us by BuzzFeed.com. By the way, the female pleasure in porn was brought to us by Glamour Magazine, UK edition. I thought that was kind of badass. All right, so we don't use the bed anymore. These are 15 pieces of furniture that are meant for one thing, sex. And they're not just meant for sex. They're meant for BDSM play. And that's another thing that's always getting wrong, is that everything with BDSM is sexual. It's about sex. No, sometimes it's just about play. I have tied up both male and females, and I'm straight. I've done it for purposes for both educational and because I was asked by them. I've tied friends up. I've had sessions with people that I've not been intimate with. So this is a misconception, but still it's cool. And I'll tell you, some of these things that they have in here, man, I cannot wait to get my my Hollywood money already so I can fill my house with all this BDSM gear. Of course, I'll have to have like the hidden room, like, you know, the house that's has a sister house, and one side is the family Mr. Anderson, and the other side is the freak Mr. Anderson. The challenges of living with a child at home. Of course, you don't want to expose your children to this types of things. You don't want to see your children jumping around on your bondage furniture. But check this out, really cool article. And again, you can find these all by going to the Comics Unleashed Twitter feed today. All right, guys, so here we go. We're going to talk about tonight's top story, and this is something that I think some of you will find very interesting. So here it is. Heroics is on Kickstarter right now. This is my project, and there's something with this. So I'm going to let you watch the video, and then we're going to talk about something that as a creator I had in mind, and I'm going to share it with you tonight. So first off, let me show you. I got it. You know, I'm on Kickstarter, so I have to play the video. If I'm not playing the video and not excited about it, then why should you guys be? Welcome to the Continuum's second issue as it hits Kickstarter with a superhero landing, and it's out to explore heroics, featuring
the origin of Atoll, and the beginnings of the Hardcore Chronicles. This is In Harm's Way, Part 1. An angel from Sad Hill takes a stand as we see this angel's origin. It's the angel of Sad Hill. A young woman who glows blue has to decide what her future is as she tries to run from the past while playing hero. It's going to be a blue Christmas. A hero takes on an after-school job and gets more than he bargained for, along with his team, and the legacy of the View, after-school job. And Mr. Anderson is back with a new tale about a reluctant hero who'd rather be wrestling and is now heroing by the hour. And the continuum changes forever in this issue. Back it now so you can find out how.
Thank you for watching. Considering that. First, let's acknowledge the really dope covers. There's some great rewards, but I want you to meet Jenna. Now, this is why this is our main story, and it wound up here. I'm not just shilling for my shilling. I think is the right word, right? Shilling for my Kickstarter, but there's also a little. I'm going to give everyone who's watching this something that no one knows. This hasn't even been written into the story yet, but it will be part of the second. This is the very first little story. So I guess this will wind up in the first issue. We're going to have to change artists to finish the first issue. But when this becomes a full issue on its own, this character, Jenna, you're going to discover that she's kinky. And it's I don't make all my characters kinky. I don't give all my characters fetishes. But there is a moment where this really fits with the character and who she is. And sexuality comes up with a lot of times with me and the characters more out of when I'm getting to know them. As a writer, there are things I get to know, and there's a back and forth between her and Johnny, who's the main character, JW, and their back and forth leads to a moment where he says something that outs her, and they're just talking to each other, so it's not a huge deal, and they know each other since childhood. So this is a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. And it's an interesting way that this is part of the character, and even how it's almost used against her. And it was, I never started out creating the character to have that. But once I had a moment where it made sense, it just made sense that that was her part of who she was. And sometimes, like you as the reader, as the creator, I learn about these characters as we are creating and as we're going. So it's very interesting. If you guys haven't given this a back yet, this is specifically from Heroing by the Hour, which is the story of the Earth's only superhero is willing to save any city or town so long as the price is right. So that's all I got for you this week, guys. We're at our 15-minute mark. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Trish, what's going on? Trish is in the building hanging out with us, doing the Freaky Friday. We're going to continue throughout the summer. I am going to have, I don't know if I'm going to have a live show coming up a few weeks from now, because both do we have Tampa, we're going to have MegaCon. We might be hitting the road in August for the first time in over a year. And what I mean road, I mean long distance travel. I'm still trying to figure that out. So there's a lot of things that are coming and going. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you in the loop of what's happening next. And for now, I'm going to wish you guys a kinky and fun weekend. Go out there and wave your freak flag, and go watch Black Widow, because she's a little naughty, I hear. But seriously, enjoy comic books. If you guys want to have anything covered on this show about freakiness, or you have a question you want to ask me, you can send it to comicsnewswire@yahoo.com. Don't worry, I'm the only one who reviews those emails, so you will not be outed. You could also find content like this. Oops. That's actually not, that's just the Twitter feed that I actually have on the actual thing. We didn't actually mean to, not that that image was bad or anything like that, but I didn't mean to show you. That was just our feed going in the background. I meant to show you this site. Here we go. You can come over here to Comics Unleashed for now, and Barbara Unleashed, I will be putting this up tomorrow. It'll probably come out tomorrow evening. I'll maybe set it up tonight, but it'll I might even have it come out. But this show's video will be on Barbara Unleashed. Again, all the links you saw tonight, they're going to be on our Twitter feed. And Trish says, great shows this week. Thank you, Trish. And thank you for sharing comics, Heroics comics this week. Really was a big help. A lot of bad weather. I'm happy to be here on a Freaky Friday. I'd rather be in a dungeon hanging out. But hey, my day is coming soon as we're reopening. So go out and enjoy yourself, guys. Until then, I'm going to bid you adieu and let you get out there and get your freak on.